Hi, everyone. Welcome to the candidate forum for the November 2nd election. My name is Shelley Lewis, and I serve as president of the League of Women Voters of Geauga. And welcome. We're so glad to see so many of you from the community here to engage with our candidates. I have to forward this. I'm sorry. So I want to start by thanking some of our local partners who help us put this event on. Obviously, we want to thank the Chardon administration for letting us use this facility and for the help in setting everything up. We want to thank, let me see, we're very proud of this, our voter guide. I'm not sure if everyone knows that this is produced for free by the Chagrin Valley Times. And then they share that in the spirit of cooperation. They share that with the Geauga County Maple Leaf, and they also print it and distribute it for free. So we're very thankful, for their work on this. If for some reason you do not subscribe to a local newspaper and get this in the mail, or if you haven't picked it up at newsstands, our local libraries also have copies. So we want to thank the Geauga County Public Library for helping to distribute these. Last but certainly not least, GTV. GTV is live streaming our event tonight. They are recording it for later rebroadcast, and you will be able to access this event on demand at their website, which is geaugatv.org. So thank you, GTV. We really appreciate it. So as much as we appreciate the help we get from our local partners, I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that we rely on the community as well for financial support to carry out our work. So if you like what we're doing and you want to support us, there's a nice big pretzel jug out on the table on your way out. We'd appreciate a donation. We also have the ability to donate online on our website. Wrong way. Okay, I think I talked about GTV already. A couple of key dates. Hopefully everyone in this room met the voter registration deadline, which was October 4th. We are in the early voting period. We want to point out that at our information table, again on your way out, we have applications for absentee ballots. We're happy to give one to you to take home or to help you fill it out, and we can take it to the Board of Elections. So if voting absentee is your choice, we're here to help you. And then, of course, November 2nd, Election Day. All right, we're going to go over the rules to make sure we're all on the same page. So first and foremost, we are here to hear from the candidates and to make sure that your questions, the questions that are important to your community, are asked. This is not intended to be a rally or a debate, so please be good listeners. We do not distinguish between incumbents and challengers, so you will not hear us refer to a candidate as trustee so-and-so or mayor so-and-so. We treat everyone the same. We do not allow surrogates to stand in for candidates. So what we'll do is we'll bring up the races one by one, and we'll bring up all the candidates, and we're going to ask the candidates to sort of use these chairs over here as an on-deck area. So if it's a little bit before your race, if you could congregate over there, we'll bring you to the tables, and then our moderator will call the candidates one by one to the podium. They will give a 3-minute presentation about their ideas for the community. And once everyone is gone, they'll all be seated at the table here, and the moderator will receive the audience questions from our screeners here. And she will ask the questions. The candidates will have 1 minute to respond. We give the moderator a lot of discretion to shorten or lengthen the questioning period as she deems fit. Want to point out our timers in the front here. These two raising their hands. Candidates, please make sure you pay attention to these folks. When you're up here doing your 3-minute, they'll give you a 30-second sign as a warning, and then they'll give you the done sign, and we just ask that you please adhere to the time limits. So at this time, I'm going to remind everyone to please silence your electronic devices. And I think we're ready for action. Yes? Pardon? At this time, we're all going to rise and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I apologize. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for that reminder. And there's one other reminder I wanted to give everyone in case you came in late. We still accept questions throughout the program. So if a brilliant question comes to you in the middle of things, wave down one of our people. We will come and collect it and submit it. I ask that you not wait until the last minute. We had trouble at another location where they thought they would, for some reason, it was better to submit it like right before the race, and then their question didn't get, it wasn't even considered. There just wasn't time. So don't hold on to your questions, get them to us, and we'll get them in the pipeline here. So I'm going to turn this over to our moderator, Meg Pauken. Meg is on our board of directors and serves as our treasurer. So please welcome Meg. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. So glad to see a nice full house and lots of questions being considered over here. So we will be starting with issue 1, Geauga County Streets, Roads, and Bridges. And for that, we have Scott Yamamoto, who will be speaking to that. You can come right in.
Good evening, everyone. We'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this event. We really appreciate it. It's a good chance for us to get out and talk to people. I am the administrator for the county engineer's office. The engineer, Joe Cattell, apologizes that he can't be here himself tonight. He spent the day in Columbus. He's on his way back now. He's very involved in several boards between the County Commissioners Association and the County Engineers Association of Ohio in legislation. So he's down there fighting for our funding to make sure our roads are the best that they can be. So issue 1, I won't take up a lot of your time. Issue 1 is a renewal of an existing 5-year levy. It is a renewal. It is not a new tax. This levy was first passed in 1986, and we haven't had an increase since. We've been very fortunate. This levy generates $3,491,106 annually. The cost is $26.82 for every $100,000 of valuation. So if you think about it, it's really a great value for your tax dollar. It's about 7% of your tax bill, and that covers road reconstruction, road resurfacing, and road repairs. And that is all road and bridges for. That is not for maintenance and snow plowing and things like that. We have other money for that, but this is for road paving. So we resurface about 22 miles of road a year. The average cost of resurfacing a road is $275,000. That is repairs, resurfacing, restriping it, and getting it ready for your use again. So we cover roughly 236 miles of road for that kind of money. So that's pretty much what we have. This levy does represent, I will say, it represents 39% of our budget. So it's very, very, very important. The other taxes that we rely on are your license plate tax fees and also the gas tax fees. If you look on the gas pumps, you'll see that a certain percentage stays right here in Geauga County. We also rely on grant money through ODOT, Ohio Public Works, and things like that. It really helps us out and make sure that we have as much money to do as much good as we can. Bridge reconstruction is very, very expensive. It can cost from tens of thousands of dollars. I think we just replaced a bridge for about $3 million in Middlefield. So we will point out that there is an excellent tool on the county auditor's website. It's called the Tax Levy Estimator. If you go on the auditor's website, you go down the left side into tax information, you will see a levy calculator there. And is there any questions? All right. Thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate it. Thanks for coming out tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Yamamoto. That was really helpful. Next up, we have issue 2. 2, Chardon City Fire and EMS, Aquilla Village Fire and EMS, and Chardon Township Additional Fire and EMS. And Chief Larry Gaspar is going to speak to that.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Thank you to the League of Women Voters for the opportunity to speak here this evening. There's 3 levies that I'm here to represent. Issue 2 in Chardon City is a 5 mil renewal with a 2 mil increase. The last increase in the city was in 2012. This will be $70 per year per $100,000 of property value. Issue 3 is in Aquilla Village. This is a brand new levy for them. This replaces, it's a 5.3 mil levy, and it replaces levy with Claridon Township. And issue 8 in Chardon Township is a 1.25 mil replacement and increase. What do these levies go for? We operate 2 engine companies, a ladder truck, a tanker, and 2 ALS rescue squads. We have award-winning EMS in both Northeast Ohio and nationally in both pre-hospital cardiac care and stroke care. Through fire prevention, we teach kids how to stop, drop, and roll, know 2 ways out of a house, crawl under smoke, the correct use of 911. We teach this at Maple Park, St. Mary's, and homeschool kids. We teach companies how to use their fire extinguishers. We install dry hydrants. We inspect homes for children, adoption agencies. We review plans for all new commercial structures. And we teach CPR, and we have a Knox box and smoke detector program. Over the next 3 years, a strategic plan includes adding 1 part-time personnel to each shift, 1 each year. The reason for this is because 22% of our calls during 2020 were overlapping, which means we have 2 incidents going on at the same time. And this year so far, 23.6% are overlapping. We have a plan to replace a paramedic chase vehicle and a rescue squad in 2024. Last year in July, we were graded by the insurance services offices on our staffing, our equipment, training, response patterns, and dispatching, as well as how well we move water in both Chardon City and in the townships. We were able to lower our ISO grade from a Class 4 to a Class 3. We are one of only 3,663 fire departments in the nation with a Class 3. The men and women of the Chardon Fire Department work hard every day to provide the highest level of care to the residents of the city of Chardon, Chardon Township, Claridon Township, and Aquilla Village, with excellent training, skills, and equipment and response times. Please support the fire levies in these communities on November 2nd. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief Gaspar. Next, we have Chardon Township Issue 7, and Michael Brown will speak to that.
Thank you. All right, first off, thank you guys very much, League of Women Voters, for holding this forum. Chardon Township's placing a 2.7 mil new road and bridge levy on the ballot this November 2nd. This levy will generate a little over $500,000, and it will be used solely for the reconstruction and repair of our little bit over 32 miles of roadway in Chardon Township. The cost of this levy for the residents is $96.25 per $100,000 worth of valuation. So if your home's $100,000, it'll be $96.25. If it's $200,000, it'll be $192 per year. Now, the trustees didn't just randomly choose this 2.75 mil levy. Rather, this was calculated as part of a building of a 5-year road maintenance plan. We did this in conjunction with the Geauga County Engineer's Office, where they helped formulate this plan and estimate the costs in order to forecast the additional funding that we would need. Now, I'm completing my 16th year as trustee, and we've never had any new road millage in the township. As a matter of fact, the last time that we had new road millage was in 2001. And since that time, a lot of things have changed. According to the National Highway Construction Cost Index that's compiled by the Federal Highway Administration, the cost of road construction has risen 91% since 2003, and 2001 would be even more. That means a project that was completed in 2001 at a cost of $250,000 would cost over $475,000 today. That's almost double the cost since the last time our road fund millage was increased. I want to stress these additional funds are only to be used for road reconstruction and repair. So I ask any resident who has any questions about the 5-year plan or this levy to either call any of your trustees personally. You can find our phone numbers on the chardontownship.com website, or you have another opportunity before the election to come to a meeting October 16th at 7 p.m. at the Chardon Township Town Hall, and we'd be more than happy to show you either the plan or any details that you want about the road funding. So with that, I ask for your support for the new road levy for Chardon Township on November 2nd. Any questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Next, we're going to hear from candidates for Chardon City Mayor, Christopher Graw and Nancy MacArthur. For the contested elections tonight, for the review and of questions and the presentations by the candidates, we take the candidates' presentations in alphabetical order by last name, and then we'll rotate who answers first and who answers last so that it's fair as it can be. All right. Mr. Graw, would you like to come up and give your 3-minute presentation?
Good evening. Thank you to the League of Women Voters, Chardon Local Schools, GTV, any other media in attendance, and of course all of you for your participation tonight. I'm Chris Graw, and I'm running for mayor here in the city of Chardon. I am currently serving on city council as your vice mayor. I'm on the finance committee and the chairman of the safety committee. I'm also serving on the Planning Commission. It's nice to see Andy Blackley, our chairperson for the Planning Commission, is here in attendance. Also, Debbie Chuha on City Council is here with me as well. I am a Chardon High School grad, a United States Air Force veteran, a business owner in Chardon for over 25 years, a graduate of Kent State University, and a lifelong member of the Church of St. Mary. I've been married for 34 years to my wife, Jane, and our children, Stephen and Maggie, are also Chardon High School grads. Jane and I are also proud grandparents to Maisie Grace, who lives in Nashville with her parents, Maggie and Matthew McBride, and we miss her greatly. I do have pictures on my cell phone if anybody wants to see later, although you've probably seen them on other formats somewhere else. I've been asked many times, why, Chris, are you running for mayor? I'm running because I'm ready. My experience has directed me towards this goal. I love spending time on City Council, on the Planning Commission, my involvement in the business community, my volunteerism, and my desire to see Chardon continue its status as a unique and wonderful place to call home have all prepared me to achieve my goal of becoming mayor. Am I okay on time? Yes, okay. As mayor, I will continue to work as part of a team. That's what we are. We work as a team together. We respect all opinions, make decisions that are not always easy, and plan for the future success of our city. I would be honored and humbled to be your next mayor of Chardon, and I respectfully ask for your vote in November. With my remaining time, I just want to add, as the Safety Committee chairperson, Larry gave a great presentation about these upcoming levies for fire and EMS. And we've reviewed their numbers. We've experienced them for many years. 30 seconds, thank you. And I just want to encourage you to vote yes on those issues. Our first responders need the best equipment, and we may need to upgrade the personnel in order to help them protect our area. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Groh. You may have a seat at the table. And Nancy MacArthur, you're next.
Hello and good evening, everyone. My name is Nancy MacArthur, and I'm running to be the first elected mayor by the people of Chardon since 1978. Thank you to the League of Women Voters for hosting this forum, and to the audience for attending tonight. Civic engagement and voter education is especially important in local elections. I've lived in Chardon for the past 25 years. My husband of 41 years, Michael, grew up in the Bass Lake area. We raised our daughter Kelly and our son Keenan here, where they attended Chardon schools. Kelly and her husband Greg live in Washington, D.C., where she teaches in the public schools. And Keenan recently graduated from The Ohio State University and lives in Columbus, where he works for a tech company. I have a bachelor's degree from Cleveland State University in communications and have worked for over 25 years in the private sector, primarily in management positions. More recently, I worked at the Board of Elections, where I did campaign finance and trained poll workers. I currently work for an international company doing pension administration work on federal contracts. I've been on City Council for the past 12 years and served on Planning Commission for 5. I've served as chair or vice chair of practically every city committee and board in the city. I was vice mayor for 3 years, and I served as mayor for 2 years. I very much enjoyed serving as Chardon's mayor and would like to continue in that role as the city's top elected official and ambassador promoting our city. Chardon is an incredibly special place. We need someone with experienced leadership to move our city forward and maintain our status as the county seat. I have a few priorities: funding public safety. I respect and appreciate our law enforcement and our first responders. We have some of the finest police officers in Geauga County. I would like to hire more officers to keep crime low, protect our growing population and businesses. Improving relations with our county commissioners. Chardon and the county have had a long dysfunctional history. As your mayor, I will work to develop a meaningful long-term relationship with our commissioners and other county officials to protect our county seat. Economic development. Through my efforts on council, we're now partnering with Retail Strategies to identify new businesses and support current ones by bringing in more customers and jobs into our city. This helps keep our taxes low, our schools strong, and our square and our city more vibrant. My Citizens First initiative. As a public official, the most important thing we do is listen to the people that we represent. I want citizens here to get more involved by serving on boards and committees, attending town halls, and visiting our Muni Center, the People's House. My experience and track record speaks for itself. I have relations with elected officials all over Ohio, which gives me access, aid, and assistance when we need it. I can't achieve any of these things without your help. Unlike my opponent, if I am not elected, I will no longer be on City Council, and I need a seat at the table to represent you. I ask for your vote on November 2nd. Thank you very much, and go Hilltoppers.
Thank you very much for those presentations. I'll ask a question. Each of you will have a minute to answer. Mrs. MacArthur, I'll start with you first. As Chardon City Mayor, if you're elected, how do you plan to encourage population growth in the city?
To encourage population growth? Well, I don't know if any of you have noticed, we have some housing developments going on. And, housing starts have been kind of slow for about the past 10 years. We work with our developers. We want to make sure that the developments are a right fit. And as Chris knows from sitting on Planning Commission, as I have, we really put them through quite a rigorous set of standards that we have for our city. So we want to make sure the developments are a right fit for us. We do need to make sure that our services are incommensurate with our population. So that's why I think we need more police, and we need, to make sure that we're keeping the current level of services that we have. We don't want to give up any quality services.
Thank you. Mr. Groh, how would you answer that question? If elected as Chardon City Mayor, how do you plan to encourage population growth in the city?
Well, is this on?
Should be.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Nope. You want to move down one? You probably can. There you go.
That's better. Nancy stated it really well as far as what's going on. We do have developments coming in, and Planning Commission is vigorous in making sure that those developments go in according to our specs. We've heard some concerns whether people want that many more people coming in, and we're confident that these developments will be secure, they'll be developed correctly, and those people living there, of course, contribute to our municipal income tax rates, and that's always beneficial to us. And also just to keep the retail stores with customers and restaurants, it's a good thing.
Thank you. Next question, I'll start with you, Mr. Groh. What is the most important part of the job of being Chardon mayor?
That's a great question, and I firmly believe that the teamwork is what this is all about. We accomplish nothing on our own. So as mayor, yes, you do have some additional responsibilities, meeting management, ceremonial head of the city, but maintaining a strong relationship with city council and with our staff to make sure that we accomplish our objectives and our long-term forecasts is the most important.
Thank you. Ms. MacArthur, what do you think the most important part of the job of being the mayor of the city of Chardon? Sorry about that.
Well, having been mayor, I can tell you that it's a great honor representing the people, and you're out about. You truly are an ambassador for the city, and you're working with the city staff and the law director to make sure things are being done properly, planning our meetings, making sure everyone is communicated. And as mayor, I did attend some of the conferences down in Columbus for the Ohio Municipal League, where I met other mayors, and there are a lot of best practices, and I believe in attending those things because you can learn a lot. I've been talking to the mayor in the Middlefield Village about their economic development. So it's really important to be, we don't have to reinvent the wheel, but, if we can have some best practices as mayor, it is very important to work together as a team, absolutely. But I believe the mayor is definitely a position of leadership and needs to lead the city to where we want to head.
Thank you. Third and final question. And I'll start with you, Ms. MacArthur. As a council person, how did you vote on the recommendation of the Charter Review Committee regarding the election of Chardon City Mayor, and why did you vote that way?
Yeah, so there's a lot of confusion about this election. We actually had two ballots on the issue regarding the charter change. So the very first one actually was a referendum petition. I was the chair of that committee. It's mostly comprised of citizens, and they did want to be able to elect the mayor directly. Council actually, other than myself, did not support that and voted on an ordinance to vote against it on the ballot. It did pass overwhelmingly by the people. And the second time, it was just sort of a little cleanup. So I think people are anxious to be able to vote for their mayor. I did support the measure, and like I said, I don't believe anybody else in our council was in favor of the change.
Thank you. Mr. Groh, as a council person, how did you vote on the recommendation of the Charter Review Committee regarding the election of the City of Chardon mayor, and why did you vote that way?
Thank you for the question, and Nancy's right. There has been some confusion on that. I feel strongly that an elected official should speak out in opposition to an item, an issue, or a communication piece that they feel would be detrimental to the health of the body that they're serving, this case being the city of Chardon. Yes, I did vote no at that time to put it on the ballot because the experience of the mayor coming from city council was critically important and has been that way for many, many decades. So now we're looking at a time when someone could enter the race for mayor with no experience, no city council experience, no public service experience, and that could in fact be harmful to the city long-term or short-term. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I'd like to thank both of you for taking time out of your schedules to be here tonight to help the voters of Chardon make an informed decision. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have issue 11 from Hambden Township, a levy for current expenses. And I don't know if we have anyone from Hambden Township speaking to that. Bueller? Bueller? Nope. Okay. Moving on to issue 12, which is Hambden Township's fire and EMS. Chief Hildenbrand's going to speak to that.
Thank you, and thank you all for coming out tonight. It's important that people are educated as to what's on the ballot so that when you get to the polls, you know what you're voting for. We're asking for a 1 mil renewal and an increase of 0.5 mil for the fire levy in Hambden. This levy was first passed about 10 years ago. As you're aware, costs of everything has gone up in the last 10 years. Our calls in 2011, when this levy was first passed, we did 490 calls that year. Last year we did 743 calls, and year to date we're at 632. So it just keeps increasing. We've leveraged the tax dollars as much as we can and applied for and received many grants, almost $200,000 worth of grants in the last 10 years. COVID money replaced all our turnout gear last year and our gear racks and bought us a new chase car. We replaced one of the fire trucks 2 years ago, and we got rid of a fire truck and reduced the fleet by one in an effort to save money and still provide that protection. We're also staffing the station 24/7, 365, which we weren't doing 10 years ago. By renewing this levy, as opposed to replacing it, it keeps the 12% rollback from the state. If we would have replaced this levy, we would have lost that 12% rollback, and the taxpayer would have had to pay that. So that's why the decision was to renew it and increase it. We can maintain that 12% rollback. The 1 mil cost, what you're paying in Hambden Township right now, is still $28.53 per $100,000 evaluation. The 0.5 additional will add $17.50 per $100 evaluation of your property. That's a pretty good value. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief Hildebrand. Next, we have Munson Township, Issue 15, Streets and Roads. Mr. Bushman, would you like to speak to that?
I'll be brief. Munson Township, we have a 0.75 mil renewal levy for streets and roads. This levy raises about $180,000, which is about 20% of our road budget. We have 48.2 miles of roads that we need to maintain with that money. So the road department does a very good job with guidance from the trustees as far as getting our roads resurfaced, striped, and all the maintenance that we have to do. So please support this levy. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Mr. Bushman. You can stay. Come on back. Next up is our Munson Township trustees. And since the presentations go in alphabetical order, guess who's first? Mr. Bushman, you may proceed. 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you to the League of Women Voters, the Chardon Schools, and GTV for hosting this forum. My name is Andy Bushman. Let me start by saying I'm not a politician. I've been doing this job for 16 years. I'm still not a politician. I'm a resident with the desire to see Munson grow as a community. This is the only elected office that I wish to hold. I've worked a long time attaining this office. My qualifications: I have a strong financial background. I'm a lifetime resident of Munson Township. I'm a former member of the Park Board, the Zoning Commission, the Zoning Commission subcommittees, and then meeting attendance. Since 1995, the year my mother died, I have attended almost every meeting involving Munson Township, whether it's Park Board, Zoning Commission, Zoning Board of Appeals, land use plans, and many, many others. I attended all the Munson Fire Department strategic planning meetings. I have strong community involvement. I'm a leadership Geauga grad, class of 2004. I am a board member of Leadership Geauga, and I serve on the Community Improvement Corporation. My family history in Munson goes very deep. I would say almost countless. It might be interesting to tally the number of years my family has given service to organizations like the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Munson Baseball, 4-H, Munson Fire Department, just to name a few. I run for this office because I have great love for the township and a desire to see it become even a better place in the future. Also, I have a passion to help people. My key qualifications for this job is I have the time and the ability to be there for the residents of Munson. I tell people that I'm there 24/7. I listen to the issues they have and try to find them help. I just wish to be the best public servant I can be. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bushman. Jim McCaskey is next.
Before I get started, I'd like to acknowledge that this is the Fire Prevention Week this week. I'd like to thank Larry and Scott for being here, but also for everybody to go home and thank a fireman or firewoman and check your batteries and your smoke detectors and have a plan. And as you said, my name is Jim McCaskey, my wife Rhonda. We've been married for 36 years. Tim and Kate and Nicole are our children. I am also the owner of McCaskey Landscape and Design. I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of my company. I'm also the vice chairman of Middlefield Bank Board of Directors, which gives me a little bit more background into the finance expertise. I am on quite a few boards as the Planning Commission for Geauga County. I've been on the Rotary Board and the Rotary President, OLA, Ohio Landscape Association. But I'm most proud of the Rotary Board. When we were on it, I initiated the Meals on Wheels. So every Monday, the members of Chardon Rotary, so believe it or not, I get Larry and Scott to go deliver meals at 12 o'clock on Monday to all the senior citizens. So I'm kind of proud of that. I'm also proud that we do the nitty-gritty. We also do Adopt a Highway, so that we're out there with our green vests on picking up trash on Route 44. And yes, you do feel like a convict while people are going by honking at you, but that's beside the point. So I do bring quite a bit of leadership to the trustee. But I'm very fair and very open-minded. I like to see two sides of every story. There's an old saying that there's yours, mine, and the truth. So I do like to hear the other side, whether I agree with it or not. The trustees currently, we are very opinionated, but we're very respectful. So we disagree with respect, and I feel like that makes a great team. But if the chips are down, we will make, or I will make the tough decision and move forward. As Chris said earlier, it's a teamwork. We have a great team with the road department, the fire department, and our zoning. Those are our three main things that we have to control. We've bolstered them up with some great leadership. We're on the right track. We have some schedule of vehicle replacement schedules, so we've done very well. And all those are important, but we're also in charge of the budget of that. And we put that together as the trustees, but more importantly with Todd Ray. And Todd's our fiscal officer. And the last budget commission, we were actually complimented on our contract with the fire department and how we spend our levy money. So that's very important to me that we do that. The last piece of this is that we have to do those things. The one thing that we don't have to do is fix our cemeteries. And our Paula Frieberhauser has a program that we are fixing our cemeteries from the back forward, and you'll see some Bushman headstones, and I'm very proud of that we do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCaskey. And last but not least, Frank James Stanko.
Okay, thanks for everybody having me here. This is my first speech. I've never been a politician, so this is my first political speech ever. So I've given speeches in front of senators and generals and vice presidents of big corporations, but never politically. So I've been a Munson resident since, and I got a cheat sheet here, 1994. My kids both went through Chardon High School, and they both went off of great stuff out of that. How I'm involved in this, I didn't seek out to join the political sector. Just a neighborhood event with the Auburn, Mayfield road construction and redistricting became really nasty at our neighborhood. We had trucks driving down at 80 miles an hour. I got involved trying to stop that, okay, because the neighbors wanted it stopped, okay? But through that whole course, I met people from old retirees to millionaires. And what they encouraged me. And they encouraged me really well. And I said, after you get enough encouragement, I said, okay, I can do this. What's it cost me? $30 to put my name on the ballot. But I met so many people and had so much fun. Just so you know me more, I have a BS in mechanical engineering from Case Western Reserve. I also have an MBA from Case Western Reserve. I spent 28 years in aerospace I handled $20 million a year in accounts. And what I think I can bring is a different school of thought. Out of the box, people say that, whatever. But I like looking at things, and I've dealt with senators and, like I said, all that. But I just want to say that, and that's how I got involved in that. And why did I want to do this, and why did it continue? I enjoyed dealing with people. The residents wanted to tell me things that they wanted that wasn't getting communicated to them. And I think I can bring stuff where I try to bring that into that. The three things I say, that the first thing for a trustee belongs, first, I got 30 seconds, and I'm paying attention. And first thing is for safety, and that's how I got involved originally. Second is fiscal responsibility, and like I said, my MBA I've got with the highest honors. And third is to bring a different school of thought of like bringing other people in, out of the box thinking. 10 seconds and I'm done.
Thank you, Mr. Stanko. All right, we have some questions for the Munson Township trustee candidates. And I am going to start right in the middle with Mr. McCaskey.
Your mic works.
What aspect of public service interests you most?
What aspect of public service? I guess giving back, helping people, listening to both sides of the story, kind of trying to come to some agreement. And listening to, and as like Jim mentioned about the 322 Auburn Road, you know, it's an ODOT project, but it affects the township. So the county's going down a township road, and so we did contact ODOT. We did contact the county engineer, and we called them to get some speed. So I like to help people. I kind of feel that part of it is to see if we can't lend an ear. And I tried to look at every situation that if this was my mom or my dad, God rest his soul, but my mom living there, what would I do? So I like to approach every situation with that aspect. Oops. Was I supposed
Thank
to be
you.
looking over here? I'm sorry.
Mr. Bushman, what aspect of public service interests you the most?
Well, is it okay. What interests me the most is helping people. I have this desire, and it's probably started, I mean, it was like we were born into it when you were born into our family. You know, my dad was on the fire department in Munson for over 50 years. I looked up to that. My mom was a trustee before me. I looked up to that. And all those years of service of helping people, that is really what I love to do as far as being a public servant.
Thank you. Mr. Stanko, last but not least again, what
Again,
aspect of public
not
service?
least, okay. And I don't think I need this. If everybody can still hear. When I found out when I did this, I described where I, out of the blue, I did this, and I had people encouraging me. But the one thing I found out is it was so enjoyable about people telling me stories about this and all of this. And why they weren't being heard and all that stuff. And it's been fun. And what I think I can bring is a different way of problem thinking. Okay, I don't like using out of the box. That's just an overused term. But there's ways that you sit there and listen to people and try to see what they say and try to involve it. And to me, it's really fun. That's all I'll say about that. And if it's fun, it's good. 10 seconds, I'm done.
Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, Mr. Bushman, I'll start with you this time. What would you change and what would you keep the same about Munson Township zoning laws?
Okay, Munson Township zoning laws. For those who don't know it, Munson Township was the first township in the state of Ohio that had zoning. What I do like about our zoning laws now is we allow for the open space that our residents desire. That is one thing that I would love to keep. I mean, and that's the backbone of our zoning. The things that I would like to change is and the trustees have no say in zoning, so let's just clarify that too. But things I'd like to see is more, our zoning map is very detailed, and I would like our zoning map to, I would say, be enhanced and go over it a little bit more in detail with our zoning commission.
Thank you. Mr. Stanko, what would you change and what would you keep the same about Munson Township zoning laws?
I've been familiar with Munson zoning for years, and I'll use that as discouragement, whatever. I think it's very comprehensive. But whether it's too comprehensive or the direction is correct, I don't know. And whether the general population knows where it goes or what's being involved, I think that needs to be encouraged such that you involve more people into the decision-making of the zoning. And it's Munson zoning is pretty complex. I've been through it, and it's very complex, and it's actually a pretty good bellwether for other people. I've got 10 more seconds, but I'd like to encourage more other people to understand what's actually in more involvement with the general public. Done.
That was actually a really nice lead into our final question. Oh wait, Mr. McCaskey, you get to answer. I'm so sorry.
I almost got skipped there, but the one thing I agree with Andy is I'd like to see us keep our large lot zoning that kind of keeps our community bedroom, our rural atmosphere. But the one thing I'd like to try to figure out a way to change is that if you have a problem with your neighbor, it's like you have to be confrontational. And I wish there was some way that we could figure out a way that we could, let's figure out a way to get along together. Because if he's got the end of the car that's dilapidated and stuck in the, doesn't run, you got to rat him out. So I wish there was some way that we could come to some better, get along a little bit better. So that's the one thing I would kind of try to change.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to the last question. Mr. Stanko, I'll start with you this time. How would you encourage more civic participation by Munson residents?
That's a very good question. To be totally honest, I can probably not answer it correct without evaluating what efforts have transpired in that way. I'm going to say by virtue of the people that I met, they maybe see one thing here or there. I think communication belongs both ways. I think there has to be more communication out of the trustees and everything else, the general public, whether they listen to it or they don't, but you have to give them the opportunity to do that. And it needs to go over and over. Is that the right way? I don't know. You need to try that, see what worked in the past and what you can try in the future. New ideas and everything else, and I'm down to my 10-second warning, so you try new things, see what worked in the past and what didn't.
All right. Mr. Bushman, how would you encourage more civic participation by Munson Township residents?
Well, at Munson, I think we do a fairly good job because we have, with pre-COVID days, we have a Munson Township picnic, and that Munson Township picnic, I mean, it brings in a lot of people. And we've had crowds of, anywhere from 1,200 people to, some lean years, 800 people. And that's a pretty large portion of our population that you get in at one place. And people are more open. If you're seeing them face to face, they're more open to talk to you. So, walking around, the park and stuff on community days, you get a lot of feedback. And then, of course, you get the feedback at Home Depot and places like that too. But it's just the community events that we have, you get a lot of feedback, and I would like to continue and maybe even add to those.
All right, Mr. McCaskey, you can bring us home on that. How would you encourage more civic participation by Munson Township residents?
I told the story earlier about the Meals on Wheels, and it's not just Munson to me. I mean, we do encourage everybody to join a board. We got our zoning commission, our BZA, and the park board. So if somebody says, hey, I want to get more involved, whether it was Joe or Mark or somebody else, we encourage them to get involved with Munson Township. But we're just one township of 16, so I would encourage, and I've done, more importantly, to coach a baseball team or join 4-H or deliver Meals on Wheels. The Department of Aging is always looking for help. So any other way, just not Munson, because we're all in this together, and I'd rather encourage you to join Geauga County, and if you can help Munson out, that'd be great. But join a board or join an organization.
Thank you very much. And thank you, all three of you, for taking time out of your evening to come here tonight to help the Munson Township voters be more informed. The next issue we're going to consider this evening is Chardon Local School District Issue 22 has a bond levy, and Superintendent Hanlon will speak to that.
Good evening, excuse me, good evening, and thank you to the League of Women Voters for providing this opportunity. I'm here to present briefly on Issue 22, which is a 15 mil, 0.81, 15-year, 0.81 mil bond issue that will generate $7.2 million for capital improvements in Chardon schools, and the cost of that issue will be $28.35 on $100,000 in market value. The history on Issue 22 dates back to 2019 when the school district failed a bond issue to replace school facilities. At that time, our Board of Education listened. They focused their energies on instituting additional capital improvement projects in our district to extend the life of our current facilities. A full roof replacement and repair program, window replacements, touchless restrooms, boilers, and other replacements throughout our district, leveraging our existing permanent improvement funds and available federal fund dollars. Issue 22 continues that investment in our school facilities and will allow us to address some of the operational issues that we're facing on some of our campus areas. This plan will include the following: dual entry security vestibules at Chardon High School and Chardon Middle School, continued window replacement at Chardon High School and Maple Elementary School, replacement visitor bleachers at Memorial Field, which have been recently found to be non-compliant in an OCR complaint that was filed against the district, and also have failed a recent inspection and will require replacement regardless of the outcome of this issue. A new transportation and maintenance compound, which will move the existing compound away from Chardon High School and reduce the traffic impact of school buses on that site. And then the construction of 196 parking spaces adjacent to the drive in the back of Chardon Middle School, and also 167 parking spaces behind Chardon High School in the area currently occupied by our bus compound. Work on this project would begin as soon as next year. I'd like to address just a few concerns that have been raised regarding Issue 22. One is that property valuation increases that will result from, or likely to result from, the reevaluation in 2 years will increase revenue to the school district. That actually will not take place. Increases in voted millage issues are controlled by House Bill 920, and those are fixed dollar revenue issues for school districts, so they won't occur. The other is that the need for the additional parking spaces was driven by the reconfiguration that the district undertook in 2018, which saved taxpayers significant dollars. Actually, this has been a decades-long problem with traffic on our school campuses, and a 2014 traffic study called out the addition of parking spaces to improve our traffic flow. Again, thank you for the opportunity to be here. If you have questions about issue 22, please don't hesitate to contact our office. Thank you.
We actually have one now.
Okay.
So Superintendent Hanlon, one question was raised, and that is this. The transportation complex is the largest expense in the proposed improvements levy. Why is this a priority?
Thank you for that question. Number one, the current transportation and maintenance, and it is both transportation and maintenance, those facilities do not currently meet the demands of the school district. So when you look at the current facility, we don't have adequate meeting spaces, we don't have adequate maintenance spaces for our buses, we have difficulty washing our school buses and extending our fleet from the corrosive impact of road salt and things that occur during the winter. And then finally, you look at the traffic impact of having that compound on the school complex or the school site itself. Moving that away from that school area will free up that space for additional parking, allow us to create dual circulation spaces both behind the high school and in front of the high school, promoting parent and school bus access to that site.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Superintendent Hanlon. All right, so for our final panel of the evening, we'll hear from Chardon School Board candidates. Again, each candidate will have the opportunity to make a 3-minute presentation, and we'll go in alphabetical order. If the candidates would like to come on down and have a seat down here, then it will be easier and quicker for you all to step up to the mic when it's your turn. As you can see, we have 5 candidates for this office, and currently we have 4 working microphones. So we'll get to see a firsthand demonstration of what kind of cooperation we can expect from our candidates. Okay, Mr. Albright, you may come first.
Which one works so I know where to sit? I'm kidding. Greetings. My name is Todd Albright, and I thank you all for attending this event. By a show of hands, who believes the last year and a half was a wake-up call? Yeah, me too. We're in a time of trial and testing locally and nationally in every area of life and government, including the school board, but we have the opportunity to respond positively. The choice is ours. We're all playing a part in this great unfolding drama, and our response is critical. Remember that we have an audience too, our children who are the guardians of our future. And that's why I'm here before you tonight. A lot of people have asked me that. Who am I? I'm a skilled tradesman with 9 children, a loving wife, and I've been a member of this community for 28 years. I have traditional values. I love Chardon, I love Ohio, and I love America. Why am I running? Because I am concerned about the heavy tax burden on the elderly, and I am concerned about, for instance, the State Board of Education's support of divisive policies and excessive spending. These are challenging times, and we need to be united and not divided to build a positive future. 2 years ago, I stood before the board and stated a strong confidence that this community has the resources to do what's necessary and the will to do it to provide excellent education for all of the children in this community. I still believe that. I still believe that the foundation laid by past generations is solid and that we can build upon it. But I want to stress that it matters a great deal what we build with. Where do I stand on common issues? Here's what everybody's probably looking to hear. I am opposed to critical race theory and any divisive practice that pits our children against one another or overrules a parent's right to decide for their children or questions that right. What would I like to accomplish? I acknowledge, first off, that enrollment is down. It's down and it's declining continually, and taxes are high. And I will listen and respond to your concerns and ideas and support taking the necessary steps to reduce, for instance, the tax burden of education and possibly even school participation fees, which are high. And I will look at every opportunity to increase efficiency and reduce costs. For instance, transportation has a low-hanging fruit to pick. Am I the guy for the job? That's the question of the night. The Bible says most men will proclaim each their own goodness, but who can find a faithful man? In this brief time, I've provided you a few examples of my goals and why I believe I'm fit for a seat on this board. But you, the voter, and only you can put my motives and my faithfulness to the test. So I'm asking you today for your vote on November 2nd. Vote Todd Albright, and I will commit right now to proving to you that you've made the right choice. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Madeline Horvath. Watch your step.
Hello. Thank you to the League of Women Voters for this opportunity to talk to everyone. The school board job is so important to our community because our kids are our future. I believe in public education. I have served on this board for 8 years, and I taught in Chardon High School for 30 years. I believe this experience serves the board well. We are an excellent district, and our yearly state report card confirms this. Of course, we do have some problems. Many of our parents are upset about busing issues. Problem is that we simply can't get enough drivers. This is a statewide problem. Between shortage of drivers and daily absences, we need approximately 10 subs every day. When we can't get enough, we have to combine routes, and this makes rides longer and less predictable. And then there's COVID. Last year, masks were mandated. This year, because of legislative decisions, we were not able to offer virtual options. And the governor's office didn't mandate masks. Nobody likes masks. But if there is a question of who's right about the efficiency of masking, I have to err on the side of safety for our kids and staff. That's my job. Another complaint lately is we don't answer questions in our meetings in a sort of public forum. If you attend a lot of meetings, you would see that we try to explain our reasoning if we know that a decision might be controversial. Sometimes we begin with statements to explain things, but truly these meetings oblige us to get a lot of business done. They often run 2 hours or more. We allow 2 times for public comment. When people bring things up at meetings, we try to get them solid answers, usually through letters from Dr. Hanlon, or by sending them to the proper person to answer their questions. Sometimes questions have to be researched, and sometimes people are just unhappy with the decision we made and they want to let us know. I know this doesn't always answer the frustrations of a community member, but getting into arguments with people doesn't solve anything and might make things worse. We have a lot to be proud of. We are in excellent financial shape. We won't need to ask for an operating levy for at least 2, maybe 3 or even 4 years. That's what we're hoping for. All of our kids have had Chromebooks now for 8 years. This makes it easier for state testing, and since they were familiar with their use, when COVID hit in 2019, we were able to make the transition to virtual learning much better than many, many districts. We also have access to all kinds of new ways of learning through these devices. We consistently have excellent state report cards and a wonderful staff. I'm very proud of the work of our current board. I fully support the bond issue that's on the ballot. I hope you'll vote for me because I truly care about our schools and our kids. Thank you.
CJ Paterniti. Did I pronounce that correct?
You did.
Good.
Thank you. Usually it's paternity. Hi, I'm CJ Paterniti. I am a Chardon graduate, class of 2002. Last time I sat in this room, I think I was watching Voyage of the Mimi. I'm not a public speaker. I'm not a politician. I'm a businessman. I'm a father, and I'm a husband. Being that I graduated from here, my children that are here tonight are also in attendance here. I have twins that are in 3rd grade, and I have a 1st grader. My experience as a business owner, I have multi-locations across the state of Ohio. I also have a store here in Chardon, DNS Automotive. I have 89 employees, and we're growing. My average age of my employees is 35. I also am currently on the Auburn Career Center Board of Education. I was appointed to the board by Dr. Bontempo and the rest of the board to fill the vacated seat for Newberry Schools. I worked very diligently with Auburn from an experience standpoint. I put 12 plus kids through the apprenticeship program that I put together with the collision tech program. I also hired the auto collision tech teacher. I was asked to be a part of the hiring team. I have, man, it's hard to look at LVU people and try to keep a consistent mind thought. and that's why I'm not a politician. I want what's best for the kids. My kids go here. I have experience here. I also don't want to infringe on any rights, so I'm also a full parent's choice. I know what's best for my kids. My wife knows what's best for my kids. There's also professionals that can give us a professional opinion also. I do support the bond issue. I did tour the schools. I did ask Dr. Hanlon for that tour. I did see the facilities. I do think that they are needed. I remember being in the 300s and the 100s hallways or classrooms, smelling the diesel fumes 20 years ago when I attended school here. So I do know that there is issues that do need to be upgraded. Schools were built over 50 years ago. It's time. Being that I'm also a business owner in the community, I do support the schools. My banners are hanging at the football fields. I supported the color run at Parks Elementary School as recent as 2 weeks ago. I supported the run Lake County that the kids did too. I can't stress enough how much I love this community. I'm raising my family here. And like I said, I'm a business owner. If I could get your vote, I would appreciate it. And I thank you for your time, and I thank the women's, the League of Women's Voters for having this event. Thank you.
Thank you. Gina Payne.
Sorry. Hi, my name is Gina Payne. I just want to thank the League of Women's Voters for having us tonight and tell you a little bit about myself. I went to Chardon High School, graduated in 1994. I went from K through 12. My husband, Mike, who I've been married to for 25 years, graduated in 1992 from Chardon High School, and my daughter, Jada, just graduated last year from Chardon High School, and my son is a current sophomore at Chardon High School. Sounds like I'm saying that a lot. I choose Chardon. I never wanted to move from here. I think it's a great place to live. The community is like a family to me. We've traveled all over the world, pretty much. And I hear people talk about this place. I hear people talk about Chardon. And it's incredible. I had great experiences here. I had fantastic teachers at Chardon High School, and some of which are still there. Their classes aren't there, which I wish to have a little bit more of those classes back, some of those options. We have a lot to lose here because Chardon is a place that it's not like any other place. You know, you have even Menor and Willoughby and these other places that people, especially teachers, I'm hearing from friends and stuff, they teach at these other schools, whether it's Riverside or whatever. They send their kids to Chardon. So we need to make sure Chardon stays the gem it is and just stay on top of it. I don't, the issues that are coming up, I feel like can be dealt with. There's a lot of, in my eyes, I see a lot of easy fixes without a lot of raising taxes at all. And I feel like this current board needs teamwork, and we're willing to bring it. I ask for your vote on November 2nd, and that's it.
All right, Alicia Taylor.
Hi. First, I would like to thank the League of Women Voters for putting this forum on and for supporting the election process. My husband and I have 2 daughters, and this is our 10th year living in Chardon. As a home educator, I am passionate about quality education and obviously very hands-on in the education of my own children. I'm running for a seat on the Chardon Board of Ed because I don't want to sit on the sidelines while I hear frustrated friends talk about problems in the schools. I want to be in the game and part of the solution. To offer my time, skills, and perspective and help improve the current situations. I'm a firm believer in putting students and their academics first in all matters. I would also like to see more transparency and ease of access with regard to curriculum, as well as reestablish trust and effective communication between the board, parents, and taxpayers. I've heard many concerns from parents regarding these issues, in addition to some complaints about, busing, quarantine, fiscal responsibility, lack of school nurses and safety officers, among others. If given the opportunity, I would like to be a part of finding the solutions to these problems. I simply want to serve the community by helping the district live to its great potential. My hope is to be a voice to all Chardon citizens, whether they currently have children in the schools or not. I believe my position as a community member with school-aged children offers unique perspective that could benefit the board. I also believe I have the ability to work alongside current board members to promote unity, keep academics at the forefront, and create a district that operates on excellence. Thank you for your time, and I would appreciate your vote on November 2nd.
Thank you very much, candidates. So we are going to start with our first question. Each of you will have 1 minute to respond. And I believe that the microphone that doesn't work is that silver one right there, right? Okay. So we're going to start with Madeline Horvath. What specifically have you done to prepare for this role if elected, such as attending meetings, discussing issues with the superintendent, the fiscal officer, the faculty, the board, and parents?
I've done a lot of that. I do that all the time. I met with Mike today. I talked to the teachers. I try to put something on Facebook to give information about what's going on in general in the district. And I'm not always as good at that as I would like to be, but I do try to get things out when it's important. I have gone to Columbus to work on the Fair School Funding Plan, which was passed into law. I'm very proud about that. I work with students all the time. So I really feel like, and the board, we're a team. The board, it's very important to work together as a team on the board. So we do that.
Thank you. CJ Paterniti.
Can you read it again for me?
Yes.
Does this work?
What specifically have you done to prepare for this role if elected, such as attending meetings and discussing issues with the superintendent, the fiscal officer, the faculty, the board, and parents?
So I have emailed Deb for some understandings of how some of the finances work within the school district. Like I said in my 3-minute speech, I did take a tour to understand what the value of the bond issue that's up for vote and what we need there. The big thing, I mean, for buses, I understand how much salt we put on the roads. I fix cars for a living, so I see how fast that they deteriorate, and I know how difficult it is to maintain them, for example. And the facilities that we do repair the buses in is extremely outdated and unsafe. I've also talked with the current board. I've asked for their ideas, their input, and a big part of why I wanted to run real quick too is has to be representation from Chardon to Auburn, and I wanted to fill that seat because Paul Stefanko is not rerunning, so that is another reason why I'm running.
Thank you. Gina Payne. What specifically have you done to prepare for this role if elected, such as attending meetings, discussing issues with the superintendent, the fiscal officer, faculty, the board, and parents?
Well, I have attended a lot of the board meetings here and at Berkshire, some at West Geauga, and watched some online just to see how they work. I've also gathered a lot of information from parents and students especially, past graduates and more currently a lot of the kids that are in the school. Like I'm asking them, I ask them and the parents especially for what they see the issues are, because I think it should be kind of parents deciding where a lot of our board how they should decide.
All right. Alicia Taylor, do you need me to repeat the question?
Sure.
What specifically have you done to prepare for this role if elected, such as attending meetings, discussing issues with the superintendent, the fiscal officer, faculty, the board, and parents?
Okay. Well, I would say my interest in this started back with the last bond issue. I had some conversations with a past board member, lots of conversations with parents. I've started going to the meetings rather recently, like a lot of other parents, and it has been very eye-opening, but honestly, most of my conversations and discussions are with other parents, because that's who are experiencing the problems and who are experiencing the good things. And also, I think I would say I have some communication with certain coaches and teachers and things like that. So.
Thank you. Mr. Albright.
Yes, I'm the only person here that's a skilled tradesman, and I have a unique job. And what that means is that I deal with huge, big machines, complicated parts, and when something breaks, the first thing I have to do is talk to the people closest to the problem. That means talking to the people closest to the problem in this instance. So for instance, Deb Armbruster, Mr. Hanlon, most of the school board are well acquainted with me in letters and phone calls and specifically face-to-face conversation. But the most important aspect of this, the people who are most closely related to this machine, if you will, are the taxpayers and the citizens. 80% of the population of this community has nothing to do with the schools, but they pay the bill. And they all have concerns, every one of them. I've gone door to door and talked to a lot of people, and not one of them did not address a concern. So let's look specifically at the school bus issue. I heard there was an issue with the school buses. I found out that there's buses sitting idle, that the jobs were not being filled, and I said, hey, why don't you incentivize that?
Thank you, Mr. Albright. Appreciate your answer. All right. Question number 2. And this time we'll start with CJ Paternity down at the end of the table. Do you support the passage of issue 22, the bond levy, and why or why not?
Yes, I support it. As I stated before, I did take a tour and did walk around. The bleachers on the passenger or the visitor side are very unsafe and very not ADA accessible. That's very near and dear to me because part of my professional capacity was a handicap accessible company that I dealt with people in wheelchairs every day. Like I stated before, the buses, and there's one thing I do need to capitalize on too. It's not just bus drivers that we're in a shortage of, it's a labor shortage across the board. It's national, it's not just here in Chardon. So we need to understand that too. And we're doing everything we possibly can as a country to try to get people back to work. So, but back to the bond issue, I think the vestibules are needed. We don't know, and we need as much safety as we possibly can give for these kids. My children are going to go to school here. I want as much safety as I can possibly get for them. I'm never going to compromise that. I don't care what anybody has to say. That's speaking as a father.
Thank you. Gina Payne, do you support the passage of issue 22, the bond levy? Why or why not?
No,
Is
it working?
Go close.
Sorry. Okay. No, I do not at this time. There are a lot of things on that bond issue that don't look like they are directly related to any of the most pressing issues in the school. One of them at Chardon High School is their bathrooms. They have doors that come up to here on me. I'm 5'2". There's no privacy. The kids look over them. They can see everybody. You know, everybody that walks in there, they can't change, they can't do anything. There's no privacy. It's really, that should be first. That's not on there. I don't think a no-touch bathroom is necessary when you don't have a full door. That's just one of my major issues with it. I think there's more pressing issues. I don't know where that transportation garage is being moved to. Nobody stated that.
Thank you. Alicia Taylor, do you support the passage of issue 22, the bond levy? Why or why not?
At this time, no, I do not. And the reason for that would be, you know, I know that these are sometimes necessary. Obviously, there are changes that need to be made in order for the garage to work efficiently. However, currently, as a taxpayer, I see that there is a lack of trust regarding where the money is going and where, you know, I don't take out a loan without having a budget. So it's hard to pass something, or, you know, to vote something in without having a clear breakdown of numbers to see exactly where the money is going and why. I think, and if that would be the case, it would be maybe a better passage for the voters.
Mr. Albright, do you support the passage of issue 22, the bond levy? Why or why not?
The answer to that question is no, I do not support it. And the reason why is because the lion's share of that is for this transportation garage. And we made the suggestion that they buy the waste management facility that was discounted $150,000 and is essentially ready to go carte blanche. So $450,000, over $3 million. The taxpayers are speaking. They're speaking loud and clear. No more taxes. I had a man tell me, I don't know if I'm going to be able to afford to be retired. He's 91 years old. Another man said, if you tax me again, I'm moving to Canada. Are we looking for the breaking point of the community, or are we looking for the best deal?
All right, Madeline Horvath.
Yes.
Do you support the passage of issue 22, and why or why not?
Definitely. It is needed. It is very carefully specified as exactly what everything is going to cost and how much it costs. When we, in 2019, when the bond issue went down, I had always hoped we'd have a new building for our kids. That's what I wanted, but it's not happening. So what we did was we listened. But we still have things that we have to fix, lots of them. The way I look at this bond issue is it's like getting your basement dry before you put in the carpeting and the nice furniture. If we don't get these basic things taken care of, we can't go on to do the other things. So the transportation garage, as it's been mentioned already, is causing bus fumes to go into the schools.
Thank you. All right. Ms. Payne, we'll start with you this time. How can you encourage greater participation in the performing arts as a board member?
I think if we talk to the community and find out what people would like to see in the schools. I would love more performing arts in the schools. Talk to the students, what would they be interested in, and parents as well. I think it would be, Chardon's great with sports and other things, but they are lacking in that. I took flamenco for 15 years and performed for assisted living, nursing homes all over the county. We did Van Aken, and people love to see entertainment, dance. You know, I would encourage our different areas, whether it's Fairmount or Lakeland, or if we could get more involvement from.
All right. Alicia Taylor, how can you encourage greater participation in performing arts as a board member?
I think that's a great question. I don't know if it's possible, but maybe there would be a way to partner with the theater that we have in the square. I think that's a great resource that not many communities have. Also, like Gina was saying, partnering with other groups. We have Fairmount, we have a lot of great performing arts available, things that are available in our area. And and in our city, or in Cleveland in general. So I think there are a lot of ways to go about that.
Okay. Todd Albright, how can you encourage greater participation in the performing arts as a board member?
Honestly, that's so out in left field. I really don't know how to answer that, but I guess my input would be, I don't have all the answers, but parents do. And so probably if you want to increase the output of any area of education, start by asking the parents, listening to what they're having to say. It is clear that Chardon is very good in music and in sports. It's also clear that such activities do promote academic achievement. Whether or not that's the area most to be prioritized right now is debatable.
Okay. CJ Paterniti. Greater participation in the arts.
I'm going to go on a limb here, since performing arts aren't one of my fortes, but as you can tell. If I had to relate it to my professional career, I would do what Todd said. I would rely on the parents, and then maybe I would leverage some relationships. If somebody had a contact with the Cleveland Orchestra, for example, maybe getting somebody here to engage the kids. If there's, I don't know any artists. I don't know any balletists. But I mean, there's got to be somebody in the community that has to have a relationship. We just have to ask. And I think at some point we have to get past the fear of asking and just reach out and understand that this is a community and we're all in this together. So why not see what's best for all the kids? I don't know, should I take a bow now? I'm just kidding.
Madeline Horvath, how can you encourage greater participation in performing arts as a Board of Education member?
Well, I do think I can speak to this. I taught theater at Chardon for 30 years. We have incredible performing arts already. I don't think it's changed, but when I was there for the musical, we would have 125 to 150 kids involved. For the fall play, we would have anywhere from 75 to 100. We have at least 3 choirs that I know of. We have Free Harmony, which is a traveling show choir. We have amazing participants. We have the band, the several bands, and great art as well. We have wonderful art teachers. They work with the other, with the kids, and they work together. We have great performing arts at Chardon, and the only thing we lack is an auditorium. And that's what I would like to see, but that's not going to happen anytime soon.
All right. Everyone had a chance to respond to this, correct? Just making sure. When I switch orders, sometimes I inadvertently drop people. Okay, for our 4th question, I'm going to start with Alicia Taylor. I don't think I've started with you yet, have I? Okay. Do you believe that there's a lack or an issue with diversity in Chardon schools? And if so, how do you plan on addressing it?
Not exactly sure how to address diversity. If I don't necessarily think that there's a problem, I mean, it's demographics. It's who lives here. So who lives here is going to be part of the demographic. I don't know really how to diversify that. I know that there is open enrollment, but I don't know how else to answer that question.
Alicia Taylor. I'm sorry. Nope. You were Alicia Taylor. Todd Albright, you're up next. Do you believe there's an issue with lack of diversity in Chardon schools? And if so, how do you plan on addressing it?
I do not believe that there is an issue, but I believe with certain practices an issue could very well be made. I believe that teaching the Constitution and stressing that everybody is equal before the law is the way to proceed through this.
Okay. Madeline Horvath, do you believe there's an issue with lack of diversity in Chardon schools? And if so, how do you plan on addressing it?
In Chardon, in this town and in this school district, we don't have a lot of diversity. There aren't many people of color here. If that's a problem, I'm not sure. but I know that we don't have much diversity. I believe that this is a diverse world, however, and it's important for us to understand each other, to listen to each other, to learn about each other, and to make sure that we all can get along and get together. So that's I think we need to keep an open mind. And I love this community. I live here, lived here for 38 years, raised my kids here, and it's a wonderful community. But are we diverse? No, we're just not.
CJ Paterniti, do you believe there's an issue regarding lack of diversity in Chardon schools, and if so, how do you plan on addressing it?
I don't think so. I mean, this community is as tight as it'll ever be. You know, I don't think that there's a problem unless we make a problem. And I think at that point, that's when you address it. I don't think you can preemptively come up with an answer before the problem presents itself. Personally, I think that that would be a waste of time to do that. I would rather concentrate my efforts on something that I would see more value in. But if there is a problem, at that point, and yes, we would have to address it, but I personally don't think there is, no.
Okay. Gina Payne, do you believe there's an issue regarding lack of diversity in Chardon schools, and if so, how do you plan on addressing the issue?
No, I don't believe there's an issue.
All right, that's the end of our questions for this evening. I want to thank everyone for being here. I want to thank you for your heartfelt and sincere participation, and I want to thank all of our candidates for being here.